switching gears to football again, back to recruiting. So Kyrie Jackson, about this time last week, dropped a top 6 of who he's considering. He's going to take his recruitment all the way through the football season, coming out of East Mississippi Community College. For those of you that think that sounds familiar, one, you remember Buddy from the first Last Chance U. You remember Get Out of the Way, Cameraman. And you also remember LaColton Bester, also comes out of Scuba in East Mississippi Community College. Now, he's big, he's long, he's rangy. He seems to have all of the tools that Justin Harrington has. And we could see that, Alex Grinch is not shy about going into junior college to try to get a kid. But, hey, Colin, it feels like it's anybody's right now. And if I'm going to give it to anybody, I'm not necessarily high on OU. I'm high on Ole Miss right now. Or do I have that wrong?
No, I think you're definitely right. There are obviously some really good spots. I think Alabama's in a really good spot. I know that this guy has labeled Florida as DBU in the past as well. So Oklahoma's going to have their work cut out for him. I think Kyrie is definitely a player that when you watch the tape or you get a sense of what this guy can do, you certainly understand why Alex Grinch and Roy Manning.
Oregon, not Ole Miss. Excuse me. Oregon.
Yeah, yes, Oregon. I felt like you meant Oregon.
No, my bad. No, my bad. No, step on me. When I get that wrong, step on me.
Hey, our job is to talk a bunch. Sometimes we're going to say things here and there, but at the same time, Oregon's a really good spot. Like I said, I really like Alabama as well. Florida, I know he had Kentucky in there.
South Carolina,
some really good schools fighting for this. Yeah.
So let me just go through the list right quick. Florida, Oklahoma, Alabama, South Carolina, Oregon, and Kentucky. All right, cool. With a commitment date, well, no. Dang, I screwed this one all the way up. Who am I thinking about then? Because he said a commitment date for July 11th. Who am I thinking about?
You may be thinking about maybe Dejon Warren. Is it Warren that's announcing here pretty soon?
Because Warren's the number one player Warren is the number one player in the country. Yeah. But I thought he was gonna, maybe because I thought he was gonna commit in July. Ugh.
Yeah,
I hate this.
Warren's announcing in December, but Jackson's announcing in July.
That's my bad.
But you are right, of course, that he released that top 6 and he's wanting to announce here pretty soon. So it's a lot to unpack.
Fire me! Golly.
All these senior college players, there's so many guys to keep up with these days.
Some guys are committed, some guys are not committed, some guys committed, but we're not sure. Some guys come out of Iowa Western. Some guys come out of Scuba. Some guys come out of Bakersfield. All right. I am not going to let that go. All right. Kyrie Jackson. Let's just go ahead and click on the link because RJ's an idiot, right? So July 11th is the date, all right? He is being recruited heavily by Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Oregon. Hell, who's going to beat out Carl Scott, man? 6'3", 197 pounds. Coming out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. All right. But Torian Gray's been so good. Okay. Now that I have my facts straight, I still like Oregon. I don't
blame you on bit either.
Okay. I can unpack that, or we can get off this segment just as soon as we got started on it, because I'm 6'3", 197 pounds. As a corner, does he continue to play corner? Like, that's the other question I really have for a lot of these guys, because it feels like we're taking corners and we're making them safeties. I have yet to see, like, the guy that came into Alex Grinch's scheme, not named Trey Brown. Well, I guess Jaden Davis, but Jaden Davis thought he was going to play nickel. And then we haven't seen what Jeremiah Cordell is actually going to do. We've only kind of sort of seen nickel, kind of sort of seen safety, but he's the safety. Woody Washington went in there to play safety when Justin Broyles got exposed in the Peach Bowl. But, like, Buki's not going to play corner as much as I'm going, yo! So, are we just recruiting defensive backs at this time who have the height and the weight, or are we recruiting players? Like, I don't know anymore, Colin, because, like, we feel like we only get to nail down that he likes them tall, and he likes them long, and he likes them with speed. And I'm going, don't we all? But apparently, rather than go get the blue chippers out of high school, he's real focused on if a guy can play in JUCO, I'm going to go get him.
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely something to that. I mean, think about it. We've talked in the past about how Alex Grinch is kind of built like a niche in recruiting world. He wants a specific mold of player. And if we're being honest with ourselves, yeah, everyone wants the 6'3" cornerback, but there also aren't too many of them. I mean, still, the cornerback position is probably manned by a lot of 6-footers, 6'1s. So if you're going to make your living on 6'2", 6'3s, you kind of have to be a little bit flexible when you're pursuing these guys. So I think you bring up something that warrants some conversation. I mean, if you're going to establish a niche, especially in defensive back recruiting, where you want the long, the lanky, and they have to be fast, I mean, do you just go get that mold and then say, okay, we'll establish where this guy plays later? For me, that's probably what Alex Grinch is probably doing right now. I mean, especially when you're recruiting out of the junior college ranks, because you have to build this defense how you want it very quickly. You can't be too picky when you're going out there and finding what you want, and what you want is that 6'3" corner like a Kyrie Jackson. So I think you bring up something that's kind of interesting. Maybe Alex Grinch is looking at this and saying, okay, I could wait and I could try and get guys that don't necessarily fit my mold, but they fit an exact position, or I can go get the dudes that I know that I want, and then later on I can groom them to play the positions that I feel fit them best. Maybe that's the right approach. Maybe it isn't. I don't think we'll really know until maybe 2 years down the road, when a lot of these new guys that he's recruited have arrived on campus and kind of helped him build the early stages and chapters of the Alex Grinch BD defense. But for right now, I can kind of see the validity of it. I mean, it's really, really hard to recruit in a very specific zone of defensive back recruiting when you know also that everyone else is going after the exact same guys. What do you think, RJ? Am I off the base there?
No, and I also think that it's a Washington State frame of mind, right? It's a Mount Union state of mind. It's some parts of, hey, I came from a place where we had 19 safeties to a place that nobody wanted to go, and he's kind of finding a happy medium, I think, because like I continue to tell people, he turned a 6'2", 254-pound man into an All-American defensive tackle. All right, like I don't doubt the development. It's also not. It's Washington State, right? It's not Oklahoma. That said, by all means, dunk on me. But one more thing to keep in mind as we watch Kyrie Jackson's commitment date is July 11th, RJ. July 11th. Ole Miss is not on the list, you dummy. All right. Rosters, right? There are 12 corners. 12 corners on Florida's roster right now, right? 1 commit. There's 8 corners on Kentucky's roster right now, 0 commits. There are 7 corners on Oregon, Alabama's roster, with 2 commits to Oregon and none to Alabama so far. And then Oklahoma has the fewest number of corners on the roster right now and 0 commits. So I thought it might be Latrell McCutcheon that might be in first. He's taking his time. Might be Kyrie that's in first. So I want to actually just kind of trot that out, in that this might be the year to really watch Alex Grinch's recruiting, because 1, it's position of need, and 2, there are no corners that are committed to this class, even as he seems to be loading up on defensive line talent. I mean, golly. I mean, between Ethan Downs, Isaiah Coe, Clayton Smith, and if they get Nathan's Rollins, Kai Blanche, that, yeah. All right, I'm with it. All right.